Okay, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another surprising wasted potential. Today we'll be covering a game that kind of falls into semi-perfect and wasted potential, depending upon how you look at it.
I'm M. He's Soul. Let's get this shit on the way.
Today we'll be talking about Mass Effect, the entire series 1, 2, and 3. Andromeda, I think, should be its own little side category that we'll talk about maybe in another episode.
On a small tangent, though, I'm pretty sure both of us think Andromeda was a pretty good game. I don't think it deserves the hate it gets.
I think that's a fair opinion. There was a lot of bugs that a lot of people ran into. I never ran into any of them. M has told me he's never ran into any of them. But That's a topic for another episode when we go over Andromeda. Because I think that's a bit more diverse from the series. It's its own little nookie cranny.
Which is one of the major problems they had with it. It's like, oh my god, a spin-off is not exactly Mass Effect.
Yeah, but again, I digress. Separate tangent altogether because there's more than enough to cover in the 3 games, I think. Maybe this will be a 2-parter if it goes on long enough.
We shall see. So, once more, Soul, we must don our spacesuits and travel into space.
Okay. Now then, you might be wondering, what is Mass Effect? Well, if you do that, I can't help you much on that one.
Okay, Mass Effect is what happens when you eat too many cheeseburgers and you collapse in on yourself.
But no, Mass Effect is this wonderful game, and yet with many issues game that came out for the 360, because it wasn't for the PS3 at the time.
Yeah. It's a EA game made by Bioware. Now, Bioware is a beloved Western RPG creator, and this is the only Bioware games I've played. For many people, that's sacrilegious, but no, I never played any Bioware games before this.
Yeah.
Or post. I mean, I tried their Dragon Age series, but that was not for me.
No, but you did enjoy the story, though, so you at least say that it wasn't that you didn't enjoy anything.
Yeah, people make jokes that, Metal Gear is your favorite video game movie to watch. Dragon Age is my favorite video game movie to watch. I actually play Metal Gear. There's not much gameplay in it, but I still can say I play Metal Gear.
I think it's just because it was just how the gameplay went out, and it just wasn't to your taste. That's fair.
That and Dragon Age 2 had a lot of repeat areas that kind of made
Dragon
my
Age
eyes.
2... I'll make a list for a Dragon Age episode.
We might have a different guest star for that then, rather than me.
Yeah, I was intending on asking for a Fallout one after 76 came out, but this might be also appropriate for that one.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I will ask her, but that's her decision.
If not, then we'll just go on without her.
Yeah, because I won't be able to do much for Dragon Age, because I've only watched 2 and a little bit of Inquisition.
Mm.
Don't know anything about 1. Don't know anything about the major stuff there's like whole stocks of 2 and
But yeah, we're getting off topic, so let's focus back on Mass Effect.
Us off topic?
It's almost like that's a gag around here.
It's almost like I don't think there's any podcast I've ever heard that can stay on topic. No, wait, that's not true. There's a couple I watched, but they're all more politically minded.
Okay. As we were saying, this was a game made by Bioware, because I don't think EA bought them when Mass Effect first came out.
Tell you what, while you talk about it, I'll double-check that. Because I'm kind of curious.
I was always more into the spacefaring eras with advanced technology and space to explore. I mean, knights and swords and armor is always fun, but Mass Effect seemed to tickle more my fancy. So it came out for the 360. You were Commander Shepard, in charge of being military man that everybody liked. And then, shit happened. Basically, you got called off to an emergency signal on some planet I can't remember the name of, because some of these planets just have names I will never remember.
For my quick Google foo, Mass Effect came out in November. EA bought November 2007, EA bought BioWare in October 2007. So it is they were probably working on it long before the buyout, but they were technically bought by EA when the game came out.
Because I know Mass Effect 2 had the EA logo on it, but I don't think 1 did when it first came out.
I think one was probably only published by them,
Probably.
technically.
But I digress. That's not the issue for this conversation. So, Commander Shepard with two other men went to the planet to investigate what the hell is going on from that image of a giant metallic octopus hand, whatever that shoddy video was, and to basically try and restore order.
Mom?
Yeah.
No, it's too useful.
And when you get on this planet, you find out that A, almost everyone's been killed. B, they've been turned into these robot zombies called husks, which, I don't know, they look a lot better than zombies to me.
Yeah, but they're just as smart.
Eh. Their processors haven't finished being put in.
Well, you say that, but it's pretty obviously no. It's just human robot zombies are just really inferior to other robot zombies we see in the series later on.
Well, that's because the other ones got fused together.
I guess, but some of them didn't. Like the Banshees are pure one race.
Yeah, but everybody loved that race. We'll get to that in a second.
I don't
Well,
hate them.
Count as everyone, so there.
Wait, I don't?
No.
What has my inflated ego been telling me then?
That you are superior to everybody else when you're not.
But you just said I was superior to everyone else.
No, I said you weren't a part of everyone else.
But you just said I was.
See, folks, there's his ego again. Surprised it fits on the camera.
Help! It's smothering me!
Smother harder!
Alright.
But basically, as you come around, you discover the alien Taurian known as Sauron. And he apparently...
Wasn't that the guy from Lord of the Rings? I think his name is Saren.
Something with an S. I don't know. He only plays a major role in one. We'll get into the technical issues of one and why we didn't go too deep into that one after we got through everything.
Yeah. Basically, Mass Effect takes place in a future space era of humanity, where we've already met space aliens, had a small war with them, befriended them, became part of the council of aliens on this place called the Citadel, where all aliens meet to, I don't know, trade and form friendly relationships. You know, things that some nations aren't really doing right now. And humanity is still getting used to the whole idea of working alongside aliens. So there's that kind of air in Mass Effect. And Mass Effect is really, really good at showing a lot of behind the scenes kind of. You're basically plopped into a living, breathing environment. The best way of saying it. There's a story going on that you're not always part of.
And I think they do that well with both in-game content of characters interacting that you overhear, and giving you a codex so that if you're one of those people who really like to read all the lore,
yeah,
it has a massive, and I mean massive amount of lore directory that you can look through and read.
Yeah,
and see some of the smaller details. They put a lot of thought in some of this.
They did. Basically, because we did Metroid last, these are basically yin and yang ways of telling story.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one does it wrong or better. Honestly, I think both of them could take a lesson from the other at times.
I can't argue that point.
Yeah. But
Mass Effect to me is the storytelling done with more of other characters.
Yep.
I mean, there's a focus on Commander Shepard. There's no denying that because that's your character.
Yeah, Shepard is your view into this world. So of
your
course,
avatar into the role per se.
So of course, obviously, Shepard's going to have major impact on things around them. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Shepard to me, although to a lot of people playing the game, never felt like the most important person ever. Felt like really important until the end of Mass Effect 3 when you did become the most important person, but at the same time that felt more along the lines of happenstance. In other games that would be, you'd be Link, the chosen warrior, literally told by the god to be chosen. Shepard just feels more along the lines of Space Joe who fell into the shoes of the chosen one.
and is the person who actually has leadership qualities that
Yeah.
leads everything along. Like, he's not a run-of-the-mill...
Yeah, you actually get to design a little bit of Shepard's backstory. There's like 3 different backstories Shepard can have.
There's the Earthling where you were in a gang, you joined the military to get out of the gangs. There's the let me look here, because I remember there was the Spacer where you lived on a space colony, I believe. Yeah, both your parents were in the Alliance. Your childhood was spent on ships and stations as they transferred from posting to posting. You never stayed in one location too many times, and you followed in your parents' footsteps, enlisted in the Space Navy. Earthborn was the crime gang. You enlisted to get out of there. And the Colonist, you're born and raised on Mindor, a small border colony. When you were 16, your colony was raped. Slave raiders attacked your colony, slaughtered everybody, including your family and friends, and you were saved by a passing Alliance ship. You joined up because of them.
In the Space Navy, you can sail the 7 skies. Sorry, that's the only thing I could think of whenever it's supposed to Space Navy.
I can't argue. It's kind of a catchy tune if you get it stuck in your head.
Although that does sound better than Space Force.
Why does that sound familiar, and yet I can't think of where it's from?
Your nation is making a Space Force.
But yeah, those are your 3 starting places, and then you got a psychological profile for 3 standards. You got the Sole Survivor. During a service, a mission you were on went terribly wrong. Trapped in an extreme survival situation, you had to overcome psychological torment, physical tormented. That would have broken most people. You survived while all those around you fell. Now you're alone or left to tell the tale. War hero, early in your military career, you found yourself facing an overwhelming enemy force. You risked your own life to save your fellow soldiers and defeat the enemy despite the impossible odds. Your bravery and heroism have earned you medals and recognition from the Alliance fleet. And then there's Ruthless. Throughout your military career, you have held fast to one basic rule: get the job done. You've been cold, calculating, and brutal. Your reputation for ruthless efficiency makes your fellow soldiers wary of you. But when failure is not an option, the military always goes to you first. And that's where you pretty much build anything that you have as sort of a background to your character, little nuances in the story. Not overall affecting the end of the game, but little tidbits here and there that make the story more interesting.
This comes from a group of people who really like to, well, obviously follow the pen and paper style of RPGs.
Which I think should be a small criteria when you're building an RPG story.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons, the difference between Western and JRPGs. And apparently someone once got very mad at me for saying the word JRPG, but that's just, that style of RPG originates from Japan. Western RPG, just sounds like a more natural response to the other style. There are differences. Some games really do blend them really well.
Yeah.
Small tangent. I actually kind of prefer JRPG style storytelling, which is, you don't make a character. There's a character pretty much already set made, and you just guide them along. You're basically the unseen voice nudging them. While Western RPGs are usually, you are Commander Shepard. You are
such and such.
The Dragonborn.
Yeah.
And neither one is wrong, and I think Mass Effect does a really good job of giving you just enough of the preset stuff for someone like me to, okay, I get this character's motivation, and I can fall into it. It's not that I can't write my own character, it's just usually when you put me in a video game setting like that, my brain's like, I would never have a character do this if this character was me.
It's the right way to mold a character, but mold it to you the way you want to play the game.
Exactly, yeah. There's several times in things like, for example, Fallout, where I'll be playing, and there's no option to constantly be sarcastic, or no option to just go, can't I just burn this whole entire place down?
No, but at the same time, this gives you a slight pre-mold, and it gives you an idea of where this character's been and how he's built up his reputation, because you don't start off as like a basic grunt in the military. You are a commander, and you have to actually get shit done to raise the ranks of that.
Yeah. But there's enough leeway so that you've got your commander rank by survival. You may not be prepared for it, so if you want to play a character like that who's inexperienced, there's room for that. The backstories can fit that. Or if you want to play the guy who's, I've been working my whole life to get higher than this rank, then
Yeah, I always went Colonist and Soul Survivor for my first Commander Shepard.
I have two Shepherd builds. There's M Shepherd and DS Shepherd, male and female. The male one was basically the get shit done. He was the military story. That's it. That's his entire background. DS was more. I went Earther, and I can't remember what military style I gave her. But when I played the two, I made Commander Shepard, M Shepard, soldier. He had no special powers. He just carried a lot of big guns. And DS Shepard, I decided to go, let's make her the infiltrator, which is the spy build or the assassin build. Mm-hmm. Both ended up carrying my favorite gun in the game, the Black Widow, because I freaking love sniper rifles in video games.
Yeah, I can't snipe with shit, so I don't really use them unless it's against a computer. But
it was really good because of the way I did this. I could write M. Shepard was the guy who basically, if there was a shortcut to getting this mission done, he took it. He didn't care if it made him look like a jackass. He didn't care if it made people mad at him. He took it. He took the options that either took the least effort or got the least of his men killed, or took the effort that would give his unit the best overall survival rating. Mm-hmm. Which is why in one scene you have to choose between saving a group of people on the Citadel and losing ships, or taking these ships and nuking something. He chose nuke something. Well, DS Shepard, I made her more of a caring kind of person. She was very protective of her crew. Her crew came first, but she would help people out along the way unless it got her crew in danger or someone insulted one of her crew members. Then you basically just, poking her crew would basically the response of poking a bear cub in front of the mama bear.
Yeah, I can see.
And I got to get two very different stories, despite the fact those are very similar kind of styles. Plus, the gameplay was very similar because most things died with my sniper rifle before they got close. But when I ran out of sniper ammo as M, I at least had a big assault rifle to take out or a shotgun to take out in situations.
Yeah, my first one I made went pure soldier into, I think it was a Vanguard.
And DS, I basically just, if I ran out of ammo, I used her cloaking ability to sneak off and find more ammo.
Yeah, I never ran out of ammo because if one gun ran out of ammo, I just pulled out the next gun.
Well,
I was a walking arsenal.
I gave her like a sniper rifle and a pistol. That's not exactly, great for long fights when you run out of ammunition with just using a pistol. Yeah. But M. Shepard was basically responsible. If you get close enough when I can't use my sniper rifle, here's a shotgun to your face. I think one of my favorite lines ever said by Talia is, "I have a shotgun." And I can definitely see the way I played him. That's probably a line he taught her. Like, I have a shotgun. What makes this human so good at diplomacy? I have a shotgun.
My response would have been, pick a weapon. I have it.
Yeah. And the thing is, I never went with what they call the biotic or the psychic powers in this game, because, for one, I kind of feel that that's kind of boring. And two, I've always been more for, hey, this person, has no superpowers, and yet they're still the most badass person in the room. That's one of the reasons why I like Batman so much.
Well, I'll get into that when we talk about the individual games between the three, because we're talking about the cast and crew right now.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, and that's another thing. I never end up liking any of the characters with biotics, because they always either felt like they were high and mighty because, oh, hey, I've got these psychic superpowers. Look at you jackasses without them. Not all of them did that, but they kind of gave me that air to them. And that's basically why when I watch a lot of Star Wars stuff, I'm usually in the background like, I don't like Jedi that much.
Yeah, if you don't like him, you don't like him. I'm not going to force your hand.
That's why I always like characters like Han Solo or Boba Fett a bit more. They're Joe Schmoes in the space world, but they're like really good at their fucking jobs. Mm-hmm. To the point where Force users go to them like, yeah, I need your help. Oh, you need my help.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like we said, Commander Shepard is pretty much you build them, you have your stats whoever you want, you pretty much use whatever class you want. You are the all-rounder of how you develop.
Yeah, there's soldier, infiltrator, engineer, and a handful of psychic-like abilities. I can't remember their name.
And then there's a few classes that try and combine the two.
Yeah.
But Mass Effect 1 kind of...
Yeah, it was not... good at that.
It feels somewhere between a finished product and experiment all in one shot.
Me, it feels like an unfinished beta at
Well,
best.
that's what I mean by experiment. Experiments, I usually say it's a beta, a testing, or...
But at worst, Mass Effect 1 still feels like it's an alpha build at times.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the only thing in Mass Effect 1 that was not, like, unfinished is character dialogue and character motivations.
Yeah, because I will say this one. Their acting for that game was amazing.
Oh, yeah, and some of the lines some of them had to say and still make you convinced, this is the thing they would say every day. Kudos.
And there's got to be some fun outtakes them saying something and laughing their
God,
ass off.
yes. I want
you just want to be a fly on the wall in that room.
Although the one I want outtakes from is I want more outtakes from Mass Effect 2. We'll get to that character when we get to that character, but there's enough outtakes I want from him.
Oh my god, how he must have got tongue-tied for half that shit.
And his singing. I just...
Okay, but let's get with the characters from Mass Effect 1. We'll go through them first real quick.
Yeah.
Why don't you pick your favorite character to go through first? Because we all know who mine's going to be.
Yeah, I guess my favorite from 1 is definitely Tali. Tali Zora.
Mm-hmm. Now, Tali is a race known as the Quarians. And her race actually has a very deep tie to Mass Effect 1, actually, for the basic standing of it. The
quirk of the Quarians is, you all know about the boy in the bubble, no immune system, has to spend his life in a bubble or isolated room. Yeah, that's them. They have to spend all their lives in isolated hazmat suits, basically.
And they have... Basically, let's go over a brief history of the Quarians real quick. So we'll go with each race as we talk about each character, because you at least get almost every race so far.
Yeah.
The Quarians built the race known as the Geth. We'll talk about the Geth later, because that comes up with another character.
Basically, the Quarians were robotic geniuses that built an army of slave robots to do their work and decide, let's make them a hive mind. And the more there are, the smarter they are.
This was to work around an AI band that the council had put up. Yeah.
But when they started getting too smart, they started asking awkward questions.
Do I have a soul?
Well, in my opinion, if you ask me that question, my response to the robot is, yes, because you asked if you did.
The Quarians, with all their intelligence...
No.
I would expect this response from the Krogans. I thought the Quarians would have been a little bit better than this.
The reaction is like if you're a parent and your kid asks you, where do babies come from? And your response is to set fire to your own kid.
Yeah.
It's an innocent question that's kind of awkward to answer, but you can come up with an answer. But
I would have said, I need to debate that more because I wasn't expecting that question.
Personally, though, if you ask me, as soon as you start making intelligent robots, you should already start asking the questions you think they're going to ask and come up with answers for what they do.
Well, I'm just saying, I wouldn't be doing that, but I'm just saying, if it asked me, because maybe I'm the nice one of the group, I would say, I need to consider that because I had no idea you were ever going to ask that question.
Or just point them the direction of the biggest philosopher you know.
Yeah.
Which,
but how are you going to get to Canada?
Am I seriously the biggest philosopher you know?
Who said I was talking about you?
My ego?
Fair point.
I
was going to send him to Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan's a good choice. Personally, I would have sent him to another mutual friend we have that we play Final Fantasy 14 with every now and then.
I can't argue that one either.
He kicks the crap out of me when it comes to our philosophical debates. Yes, I actually have philosophical debates with a guy. Only about nerdy things, though. Not actual, things that matter.
Well, it's a sentient robot. I'm pretty sure it falls into nerdy philosophy.
True enough. So, yeah, I'd send him to him. But,
okay, but moving on. But the Quarians pretty much built the race. They started a war. Because it was documented that the Quarians started the war.
Yeah,
they freaked hairs on that.
They freaked the hell out. They overreacted. And the Geth kicked them off the world. And the Quarians are now forced to live in a cluster of ships, surviving off whatever scrap they can come across and build, and they're seen as a bunch of idiot vagabonds by a lot of the races in the Mass Effect universe, I want to say.
And to keep their ships up and running, they, as a rite of passage...
they turn like 16, they send the Quarians on a pilgrimage to bring something back to the fleet that can be useful, like a new ship or a new skill they never came up with, like they never had before.
And then you kind of get adopted by another ship
to prevent inbreeding.
Mm-hmm. And then you kind of adopt that ship's name as your last name, kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird because Tali kind of started. Now I'm going to butcher this name for all intents, well, not intentional, but all purposes included, because there's a reason we just call her Tali.
Yeah,
Tali Zora Naraya. And then when she kind of gets adopted by with your crew, she's Tali Vas Normandy.
Yeah, which is apparently a big shtick because of, it's your ship and it's not a Korean ship, so it's kind of looked frowned upon. But I actually think she kind of embraces that for a while.
Yeah, but she always thinks of her people, but she's not.
She is. What I like the most about her is you meet her in 1, and she's on her pilgrimage. And she is one of the recurring characters through all 3 games. Mm-hmm. And you get to see her from shy, just left the fleet, not knowing the big universe out there young lady, to, by the end of 3, she is leading part of the fleet as an admiral, and is basically a world leader in a sense. And she fills that role really well. She naturally always feels like her people come first, and as she's a romance option, you come second.
Yeah, and even to her, if her people come first, she's not ignoring the rest of the galaxy.
No, she is very level-headed. She starts off kind of naive, but that naivety lets her learn better, I find.
In certain circumstances, I can agree to that.
Yeah.
If her naivety isn't getting her killed, she is learning from it. I will at least say that.
Yeah. And it just leads to her being really interesting. And as I joked before, she uses a shotgun, and I respect any woman who runs around with a shotgun.
So, with that in mind, we'll go to my favorite character. The other one that carries a shotgun and has a brute force to back it up.
Small side joke. Mass Effect 1 had a shield system and an armor system. Certain weapons did more damage to shields, certain weapons did more damage to armor. But because of how buggy Mass Effect 1 was, I gave this character the best armor and shielding. He kept going down, despite the fact he's built as your party's tank. He would go down in one shot. Tali is meant to be your glass cannon. Like, she can't take a shot. She was ending up in a lot of firefights, standing there with 5 different Geths shooting at her with machine guns. She was not reacting to this at all, just downing them, while the other guy, who's supposed to be the tank, is just on the ground, like, I got shot in the pinky toe. I need my mommy. I'm like...
I had the exact opposite feel. I had probably the standard feel, because he was the one who's going, wow, and just taking everything like a beast. And I'm talking about Ernot Rex.
Yeah, he's the Krogan of your first team. And the Krogan are, like I said, tanks. They're the big hulking monsters of the space with redundant nervous systems so they don't feel pain. Well, I think they have like 2 hearts, so you can like...
They have almost 2 of every organ, a redundancy nervous system so they don't feel pain that much.
So basically... in my opinion, whenever you meet something in space and you kill it, you should always double tap. A Krogan, you should just keep shooting until it's a mess on the floor.
Yeah, because I've seen a Krogan do amazing things.
After 1, in 2 and 3, the Krogans behave like they should have, in my experience, and I always kind of like, oh crap, a Krogan's running at me.
See, here's the thing about the Krogan, and we'll talk more about that when we get to 3 in that aspect.
Yeah.
But when you first meet them, you get the feeling they kind of screwed themselves over on their planet. And the only reason they got off the planet was, well, essentially what they did, but they were pretty much taken into the galaxy to fight another menace known as the Rachni, because the Krogan breed quickly.
And they're tough motherfuckers. So yeah. The Krogan are a good example of why you don't give cavemen assault rifles. Now, they weren't that primitive. They already had mastered nuclear technology. They were nuking each other. But what was given them was space technology to go into space. And, whoo boy, did they ever start colonizing with their fast...
Yeah, they're the prime example of once you're done being the hunted, you become the hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of get bored sometimes.
Yeah.
And a bored Krogan is not a fun thing to interact with.
And the worst part about Krogans is not how fast they breed, but they can live thousands of years.
Yeah, they're
So
kind of...
like even Father Time cannot take them down easily. So even if they didn't breed them as fast as they do, they would still overpopulate because, old man Joe's been alive for 400 years and he's still getting it on. Like,
Yeah, I think the oldest Krogan we ever met was Mass Effect Andromeda.
yeah,
And he was not slowing down too much, even in his old age.
he was 1,000 though, right? Or at least near 1,000.
Somewhere around, I think it was somewhere in the late 900s.
Yeah, I'm gonna double check that while you talk about the Krogans.
But Urdnot Rex is by far one of the best bounty hunters you come across in this game, in my opinion. And he is your steadfast soldier type, with some biotics to keep his shields up, what I used him as.
Okay, we were both wrong because Drac is 1,400 years old.
That's even more impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's being kept alive by some cybernetics, but goddamn.
Yeah, but the Krogan.
Maybe Urdnot Rex was getting around 900.
I'll double check. I'll double check Rex's age too, because while Rex and I had some funny stories in one, I still ended up really liking the character.
Yeah, as a character, he had some fun stories, and if you overlike the old grandpa military story of adventure and stuff like that, he is the one to talk to. He has a very, I guess the word would be, actually I'm not sure what to call it, but he has a very simplistic view, but it's not. He's trying to bring his race back from the edge of extinction from the genophage, which pretty much made almost every chance of them multiplying failure. And we'll talk more about that in 2 when it comes up with another character.
Yeah.
But the genophage pretty much made the Krogan so they can't reproduce on a scale that they were doing.
I can't find an official age for Rex.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
No, I was just curious.
He's not ancient old, but he is an adult by their standards. That's pretty much all we really need to know.
Yep.
Next up would be another favorite between the two of us, Garrus Vicarian.
Ah, yes. The other sniper of my team. Garrus is a Turian, which is a military hierarchy kind of species. That they're kind of like if raptors, became spacefarers.
Which is weird because they're always called reference to birds, but I don't see it.
Well, raptors have a lot of common with birds as well.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, basically what happens if the raptor evolved into this instead of birds. There's still some commonalities with birds, but yeah. Garrus starts off as a cop on the Citadel,
who is not very fond of red tape.
No, he can't stand it, which is really weird for his species because the species are very militaristic,
by the book,
and even when he's in your party, he's still the by the book guy pretty much. But by his species, he's basically the loose cop. This is your last.
No, it's not to say his species is
robotic.
No, they have feelings. What they're trying to do is they're trying to put the right person in the right position so that the job can be stable.
Yeah.
They're not looking. Most of them don't look for a promotion unless they're fit for that position.
In fact, in their species, when I'm reading this, if you are given a promotion by a leader and you turn it down, that's an insult to you and the guy who wanted to promote you.
Yeah.
And if you were given a promotion and then given a demotion, that's an insult to the person who promoted you, but not to you. That was basically just someone saying, you were promoted too early. This is not your fault. You weren't in the right place.
Yeah, it's not to say they don't understand that people can grow and mature and get into a position. Yeah. They just try to dump it all on you too soon.
Yep.
I mean, granted, things do happen. I'm pretty sure that they at least understand that shit does come up.
Yep.
But
so after the Krogan ended up being the muscle of the universe and got out of hand, they found the Turians. The Turians, being a militaristic unit, actually managed to beat back the Krogans for a while with the help of another species. So when Earth starts space traveling, they open up Mass Effects, which are the space warp thingamajigs. We'll get into that later. That's breaking Citadel rules. So the Turians immediately say, someone broke the rules. They're a new species. Well, they broke the rules. They couldn't have known those. They broke the rules. So
Yeah, and that kind of led into another war,
which is called the First Contact War.
Mhm.
That's what the humans call it. And the war has only been over for a few years when Mass Effect starts. So Turians and humans are still kind of like not on even footing, but your whole team starts off as a way of balancing it out because your ship, the Normandy, was built by Turians and humans as a way of, yeah, we're friends now.
somehow the first step had to be made. It's not like it's going to make itself.
Yeah, and Garrus is a very relaxed member of your team. He ends up being often the voice of reason when things are going weird, but he's also, like I said, he's the sniper. He's got a very strong sense of justice, and then
At
later,
least until 2 came along.
yeah, in 2, I actually think 2 is given the best character growth.
Yeah.
He doesn't grow after 2, I think.
I don't think he needed to.
He didn't. His character growth was done in 2. In 3, he has like a few promotions, and he's back to helping the Turians.
I think in 3 it was more of character definement than it was growth.
Yeah, that's probably the best way of putting it. But he ends up helping you in 1 because he's sick and tired of red tape, and you're busting down doors like he wishes he could.
And he also knows that one of his race is a traitor and wants to take him down.
Yeah, the Turians are very traitors, and Turian culture is a very dangerous thing to be. Because you got their whole species pissed off then.
Yeah. Next up, I want to bring into this conversation Liara Tassoni. When she first starts off, she is an Asari, which is the race everyone wants to bed, apparently.
Yeah, they're a monogender race, and they all look like females. They all look like humanoid females. I mean, they got the breasts and the hips, and they have this ability to breed with not only their own their own species, but every species they can come across, they can breed with.
Yeah,
it's
but
a
they
weird.
all come out looking like Asari.
Yeah, and Asari, much like Krogan, can live 1,000 years
easily.
Yeah, and they all are usually naturally biotic, which is the psychic-like powers. And they usually have stronger psychic powers than every other species that have it.
And they kind of go through like phases of their lives. Like there's the juvenile, and then it goes up to like a monarch stage. That
you've been around for 1,000 years. Obviously, you've got experience. You should share it with us, oh wise matron.
Yeah, which makes sense. Honestly, if you're gonna live that goddamn long.
Yeah, I mean, I generally tend to listen to people who are older than me out of respect, and they usually have some good advice.
I mean, it's not quite the same advice that the Krogans are going to give how long they've lived, but...
But the thing about the Asari is because they're really the first ones to do space travel, and they're the ones with the natural biotics, and they can use other races to make their own race.
They almost have an ego almost as big as M's.
I actually think their entire species has an ego that dwarfs mine.
I don't know.
Because I'll admit I'm flawed. I got
but
two left.
Just feed more into your ego because you try to admit that you're not better than everybody. But by doing that, you also admit that you're better than everybody.
No, that's not how that works, but that is a good logic puzzle. But Liara is pretty young by her species. She's only a couple hundred years old, I think.
Yeah, she is nowhere near her matrimony age.
Yeah.
And she's actually more naive than Tali when you recruit her.
Yeah,
because she studies artifacts. She's an archaeologist, and that has been her sole focus. So
okay,
she's not very good with dealing with people.
She's only 106, which is barely an adult by Asari terms.
Yeah, she's still pretty much a newborn by their standards.
So basically, she and Tali are both about 16ish in terms of human aging.
By terms of naivety, yeah, Liara wins out in Mass Effect 1.
Oh yeah, there's also one thing that needs to be brought up about Liara. She caused a small upset in the video game world. Because her species are one gender and can romance anyone, there was a small problem when some U.S. news found out that this game was promoting lesbianism.
Oh, boo-hoo.
And I'm like, first off, it's not really lesbianism because they don't really have genders for their species. Second, this game came out in 2007. That's kind of Yeah, stop shaking your. The times have changed, old folks. The times have changed.
Yeah, look, I'll just say this now. Whatever you are, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. There's a good joke I read the other day, and I've never had to worry about a gay person converting me to being gay, but I have been but I keep having Jehovah's Witnesses knock on my door.
Yeah, I'm trying to run out of flame fuel to get them away from my front door, so I'll have to go restock.
Yeah, Liara is a nice character, though. I don't like the Asari as when I deal with them, but she's actually pretty nice, and she does rapidly mature as well throughout the games.
So yeah, Liara, individual character. This game actually does the one thing is like individual characters you can like or hate, but you can also get a sense of their entire species to like or hate. So it kind of gives you that individualism and a whole kind of character build kind of thing from their species. So it does a nice job of mingling those two aspects. Moving on for time's sake, because we might have to do each Mass Effect as a separate whole at this rate.
Yeah, we might.
Next is Ashley Williams. No, yeah. She is the xenophobe of the group.
Yeah, that instantly makes me dislike her because there's a colorful cast of people who are saving your life, always got your back, and she still can't trust them.
Yeah. Now, if she had reservations, it wasn't just opening up right away, I could understand that more. You're being a little hesitant after coming out a couple years war with the Torians.
But there's a scene that made me, my girlfriend, I'm pretty sure made Sol pissed off at her instantaneously. There's a point where Rex is kind of debating an idea that would be technically bad for the universe but good for his species, which is obviously a choice, would it be a debate anyone would have for the future of their species.
Because right now the Krogans believe that they're looking at extinction for their species.
So obviously he would debate on that. If you don't have a high enough rating with Rex, actually we'll just shoot and kill him. Just that. And
fortunately, I never had that happen because I was always able to debate with Rex to get him calmed down. But
I did, because I made one wrong decision and, of course, immediately reloaded. And after that, I went from disliking Ashley, like she was my least used party member in 1 at that point, to just outright, oh my god, woman! Trigger discipline is a thing!
Yeah.
You were escalating the situation, you were escalating this, and he's dead. Where's the option to shoot you?
And that brings, because really, I think that's really her only character development, because I don't really have her in 2 or 3, because I never had her along for the ride. I won't bring any spoilers if you ever played the game.
Yeah, and the final member of your team is actually
Alenko.
Guess what, Sol?
What's that?
He's a fellow Canuck.
A what?
He's a Canadian.
Oh yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's from Vancouver, I believe.
I forgot he was. Don't get me wrong. Caden Alenko is fine by my standards. I just never really spent that much time invested him because he is. There
was always an air to him. I was like, I kind of like you, but it's basically like Caden is basically the team's equivalent to the ketchup on your table when you're having a meal.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have, but not every meal needs ketchup.
But he's better than the alternative between the two you can pick to bring along with you.
She's horseradish.
Caden Alenko has an interesting background of being one of the humans being experimented with dark matter to encourage biotic powers. He's actually a very accepting person for everything that's in his background, especially with the Torians.
Yep. He's also one of the few characters in the game that's actually bi.
Mm-hmm.
Which never actually threw much of a big hissy fit with people I know, but I do know for a while my girlfriend, he was my favorite character for my girlfriend, and she romanced him.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. They're fine with him being bi, but the Asari who wants to date your female character is kind of all raising all hell.
Which is really weird, because usually most old white men who complain about shit like that usually prefer the lesbianism.
I mean, granted, my character didn't date him because my character didn't go that way. I mean, they were very good friends.
Yeah.
He was just a standard character that had valid points. He was a soldier with a heart.
Yeah, he was the safe character of the team, I want to think. He didn't really do anything really amazing. Even in later games, when you have like
but there are people like that though, which is what he stands in as, and it's a perfect character fit for him. That's how they developed the character. He wasn't just shoved into that position.
Hell, he probably could have. He was well written enough to, I'm pretty sure, be a main character of his own game if they wanted to do that.
Yeah, give him a spin-off series. That would have been cool by me.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's just surrounded by slightly more interesting people. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I don't think... I like Rex more, but I don't think Rex could do an entire game as a main character.
Not without a lot of other things coming into it to be side characters along with it.
Same with Liara. She was better, more interesting, but I don't think she could do an entire game at first.
Tali, I could see, but you'd have to really expand into the Korean backstory.
Yeah. Garrus is probably the only one who is more interesting and then could easily have his own story.
Yeah, but I think the more interesting story would be between 1 and 2.
Yeah,
that story. Not before he joined. Not when he was part of the Citadel Security.
But at the same time, I wouldn't be pissed off as some sort of Garrus spin-off where he's a detective.
No, but the way I would do is I would put it between 1 and 2 with Garrus. But have flashbacks to when he was in CSEC.
Yeah, which is the police force he was part of. Mm-hmm. Anyway, those are pretty much the main characters you get for the first game, and...
Yeah, there's a whole slew of characters that you interact with.
Here's the thing. I know people who actually defend Ashley. I know some people who actually like her. They will not defend that she can be kind of xenophobic, but they say she gets better when the games go on. I'm like, that's fine. It's just... a lot of people I know don't really care for her because of how she treats Rex, and Rex is a well-liked character. I know people who like her, but don't like Rex, so I guess that kind of...
Evens it out?
Evens it out, yeah. And that's actually a really good thing for the game to do, which is to give you a really tough choice of who do you agree with in this situation. Technically...
Yeah, Mass Effect did that right by... It has morals... posted in and has you questioning where you stand in a lot of things.
And oftentimes the questions don't have a black or white answer.
Because as I said, Ashley, I think, is too xenophobic in my opinion, but having reservations to some degree that she has is not a bad thing.
To be fair, Earth was recently in a war with aliens. Mm-hmm. She wasn't old enough to fight in it.
And to be fair, that war was not started by us.
And
we didn't know anything about the laws that the other species had.
And there are still hostile alien races out there.
Oh, a lot.
Yeah, there's in fact an entire species that's all about making slaves out of other species.
Oh, and yeah, those jackasses.
They're technically allies.
Mm-hmm. The Batarians.
Yeah, that's their name.
And then they got the Vorcha. Oh.
I actually really wanted a Vorcha in my party.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, they're not exactly the friendliest species either.
No, they're not, but they're really interesting.
And then you got other alien species that are kind of like the bear. You don't go towards the goddamn bear.
No. So yeah, there is logic for slight
Yeah, there's reason to be hesitant about approaching everything.
But at that
point, enough.
But there's also some self-control needs to be given.
Yeah, basically you approach it the same way you would go a march through the woods. You're gonna be curious, you're gonna be explorative, but you're gonna bet your ass you're gonna be extra careful not to get mauled by a goddamn bear, a pack of wolves, or whatever the fuck comes across your way.
Exactly.
And then again, you also come across creatures that have nukes that also just want to blow your ass up. So, being careful is not the worst thing you could possibly do in a situation.
No, and if that's the reason if someone likes Ashley, again, we can't really argue that. We just don't like her.
We just think she goes too far with it.
Too far. Cases. She's a living example of, well, that escalated quickly.
And if she improves over the course of the game, more kudos to her, but I've never seen it because I never actually brought her along.
And every Let's Play I've ever watched has never brought her along.
I think I watched one, but I never watched 2 or 3 afterwards. So I was like, meh.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We didn't mention this, but the Trilogy actually takes data from the previous games you played, and those decisions you make in 1 affect decisions in 2. And the decision you made in 1 and 2 affects decisions in 3. Okay,
well, that's, like I said, there's a whole slew of characters. I'm just going to go a brief little thing over each of them, because at this point we're at the 50-minute mark. So we're probably just going to split 1, 2, and 3 off into individual things at this point.
Yeah,
because the characters alone have a lot to talk about,
and the gameplay changes a lot from 1 and 2. So yeah.
And then you got David Anderson, who is your former commanding officer, who gives you control of the Normie to go off in your space quest.
Yep.
You got your Dr. Chakwas, who's always fun to talk to.
I love her. She has so many good lines.
Donnell Udina, who is the dickhead politician you got to deal with.
Yep, he's the human representative for space.
Jeff Joker Moreau, who is your pilot.
He was a fan favorite character that I don't care for.
Yeah, fair enough.
I didn't really find him funny. I didn't really find him endearing. I did respect the guy. He's got a rare condition where he's basically got really brittle bones and can't really do much, but he's able to fly the spaceship. So
I think that also adds to Mass Effect because you're going to run into people you don't like, but you also respect. It's one of those. Yeah,
I mean, I felt really safe with him as my pilot of the ship, but
you're not playing poker with him at the bar.
No, I wouldn't invite him out to anything. I would probably have a very healthy work relationship with the guy, and as soon as I'd clock out, I'm like, bye. Whatever her name was.
And there are 2 main characters we need to bring up in this before we close it out. First one is Saren Atarius, the technical main villain of Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
He is a renegade Taurian who is in league with another... I'm not sure you call him an alien species, but...
I would.
Well, first you think he's in league with the Geth.
Yeah.
Which is right and wrong at the same time. That kind of gets complicated. We'll talk more about that when we talk about Mass Effect 2. But...
So I have a quick question.
Shoot.
Which has more factions and confusing things to follow? This or Gundam Wing?
I want to say Gundam Wing only because I don't have a codex to go back into everything with.
Okay.
But if I had no codex, this. But he is basically in league with a semi-alien, semi-robotic species known as the Reapers. A league of spaceship-sized robotic aliens that pretty much clean this universe free as intelligent species every 50,000 years?
Something like that, yeah.
And it's been on this constant cycle for God knows how long. And your job is pretty much to try and stop their coming. After the point where you realize that, oh shit, Reapers are coming to destroy us all. Like they've done constantly.
Of course, no one really believes you for like...
And there's no real history or recording of the Reapers. Save one, which was a shoddy recording, and everybody thinks it was a Geth ship that the Geth built. Because everyone is so afraid of the Geth because the Geth are this AI that kicked the people off their planet and no one ever seems to want to talk to. Because there's usually not enough in a group to get sentient talking out of.
Yeah.
Usually. But, okay, for the last 10 minutes or so, I want to talk about Mass Effect 1 as a whole, because, as we said, Mass Effect 1 felt like a experiment, alpha build, finished product, kind of all rolled up into one. Now, what they got right was the characters. They're acting...
What they got really fucking wrong is the gunplay.
And I'll explain that in a second. The voice acting, the character development, the character motivations, anything interactive between the groups was done right. They had you make this feel like this was a universe built upon itself. Gunplay went off the rails because of two things. Number one was the RPG by the numbers system.
Yeah.
I could potentially snipe you with the shotgun.
Oh,
it's
boy.
One of those interesting things, like, I wouldn't... Maybe if they fixed the numbers a little bit, it wouldn't have been that bad. But I don't think they had a distance system worked out that well.
No, but that was the thing that drove me up the lead. Like I mentioned, I like sniper rifles. But the thing is, sometimes my sniper rifle was less effective at long range than my shotgun, which should have spread, but that had clustered. there was basically they gave the illusion of skill in this game, but it all came down to the random number generator was how everything was determined in combat.
Which, for something like Dragon Age, how that played out, that was better.
Yes.
This tried to incorporate the more live-action third-person shooter, and they did not clash well.
No, and it really came off really, really awkward and really bad. And the only game I can think of that does something similar is Borderlands, where you can open up a treasure chest, take a shotgun, and it's got this amazing sniper scope on it.
Yeah, but that worked out like an actual shotgun, so the distance wasn't that impressive for it.
Yeah.
Now, and to say that is the major flaw for this game. So in essence, they did a lot more right. Now,
yeah.
The other thing that was argued that they got wrong
was Mako tank.
Now, this is where me and Em have agreed to disagree.
Yeah. There's basically, in 1 and 2, there are 2 different tanks. In 1, there's this classic kind of space Land Rover thing, the Mako, which I think is a piece of flaming garbage.
I love this thing.
And in 2, you get something called a Hammerhead, which is a flying tank that zooms around super fast.
I hate that thing.
It's got terrible armor, but because it's so goddamn fast, I never get hit, and I just get to spin around things, shooting them, and laughing at their pathetic attempts to hit me. But what I loved most about Mass Effect 3 is they actually know the fans were in such hot debate about that they actually had NPCs. It's still a debate about which was the better tank.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was.
But like I said, I can understand the problems people had with the Mako. I'm not saying it was perfect.
I also understand the problems people have with the Hammerhead. It's not great for a lot of the gameplay styles.
No, but this is one of the things that shows how different people can be, but still like the same thing. But to me, the Mako, I could make that thing dance on a dime if I had to. And that's maybe just because of how I play games. Because I just felt like the gun on the Mako was a lot more efficient, especially being able to snipe. But
yeah.
You were basically the problem a lot of people had with the Mako was what it could not climb, because some mountains it could climb with ease, and then there are some places you're wondering why the hell I'm losing traction. Oh, and the problem I had with the Hammerhead, that thing was slippery sometimes. That it just kind of overshot me into the lava.
I guess I'm used to floaty gameplay controls.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like it was constantly throwing me in lava like a lot of people complain about. But
no,
there was at least stability to the slipperiness. If that is the best way I could put it. But I honestly think that one of the better things that should have been that they could fix in Mass Effect 1 to make it better was go through the basic crunch numbers they have for what you can and cannot hit.
Yeah.
And that the adjustment should be from what's in corner, what's in hiding, how much cover you have, and the range increments if they're going to do that.
Yep.
Otherwise, give it to Mass Effect 1 and 2 gunplay. Is the only way you're really going to fix it.
Yeah. At least 2 and 3 really fixed that. They actually allowed me to actually be a proper sniper.
Mm-hmm.
Also allowed you to actually rely on your shotgun in close range combat rather than just shotgunning things from a block away.
Yeah, the other problem with the number system is that you're supposed to be a trained sniper, but unless you had a ton of stats in that sniper, you're waving around looking through that scope. I'm like, what motherfucker? How did you get anywhere as a sniper if you're doing this?
You should have seen my instructor.
Good lord. What, was he cross-eyed?
He was cross-eyed, his legs were literally made out of jello, and we took the exam during an earthquake.
Fuck! But I think the other thing, in a sense, that Mass Effect 1 got right by the RPG standards was what you could put stats in. They redefined it in 2 and 3.
Yep.
I think 3 had the better outcome for that. 2, I felt was a little bit too narrow for that, in my opinion. But 1 had a huge list of stats you could increase to go through the game in a variety of different ways.
Yeah.
like hacking, basic run and gun, stealth in a sense. So there was a lot of ways you could go about it, which is what I
Yeah.
appreciated from the game.
Yeah.
And that's about all the time we have for this right now. So I'm just going to leave up on this thought. If you ever come across a space cow, keep a hand on your wallet.
Don't keep eye contact with the space cow at all times.
Otherwise, it will steal your wallet.
That is just so bleeding random.
Yes, it is. Good night, folks.
Take care, everybody.